What's up guys, it's James Allen, the out-of-state investor, and today I want to share with you the story of the first duplex I ever purchased. Now this has hands down been one of my favorite properties I've ever purchased, mainly because it cash flows so well and it's gained so much value in such a short amount of time. So in today's video I'm going to go over how I found the deal, how I knew it was going to be a great investment property, and in addition to that we're going to go over all the numbers and give you guys some great tips so that you guys can find some great deals just like this one. But before I get started, do me a favor, support the channel and smash that like button. And if you haven't already done so, you definitely need to subscribe and hit that notification bell if you want to watch more content like this. And with that said, let's jump into it. Alright, so to give some perspective to this story, this is taking place right after I sold my first investment property. If you haven't seen that video, I definitely recommend checking that out, link above or below in the description. So this story takes place in the summer of 2018. I had just sold my first investment property, so I have some extra cash to work with at this point, and I'm looking for a property to buy in the Knoxville market because, as some of you may know, I invest out of state in the Knoxville, Tennessee market, and I see this duplex get listed for $100,000. Now there were a few things I immediately knew I liked about this duplex, particularly the location it was in, because it was in a very gentrifying area. The local flippers were flipping houses in this area, and in addition to that, just 5 minutes away from this duplex, the city was pouring millions and millions of dollars into this whole redevelopment project called the South Waterfront project. I also liked that each unit was a 2-bedroom, 1-bath unit, and it was actually in rentable shape and as-is condition, but it still had the value-add opportunity to where I could make renovations, raise the rent significantly. But even in current condition, the rents were currently at $1,195 a month, which already exceeded the 1% rule. Now, in addition to that, there were actually some really nice upgrades when it came to the more major items in the house, such as a newer roof. The plumbing was actually upgraded, so I didn't have to deal with the old galvanized steel and cast iron sewer pipes. We were talking about updated copper plumbing. And this is of course great because over the long term, my maintenance costs will actually be lower because of that. So at this point, I knew this property was exactly what I was looking for. And when you have these kind of properties that pretty much every investor knows is a good property to buy, you're going to have a lot of competition. And the best way to avoid that competition is moving as fast as possible. So I immediately put in a blind offer, and this was with a partner I was doing this deal, and I went in at $97,000 all cash. And in addition to that, I actually added a deadline of less than 24 hours for them to respond to me, so that way they were forced to make a decision before lots of other offers could start coming in. Well, the good news is that it completely worked. The seller accepted my offer and we immediately went into escrow, and I took the property off the market before anyone could even schedule a showing. Now, although it was a blind offer, I did protect myself by giving myself an inspection period. I think I gave myself 3 or 5 days to do that, and that just protected me in case a major deal breaker came up. I had the opportunity to still get out of the deal. So we went through the inspection and nothing major came up, so we just went on with the process and ended up closing on the property. Now, once we officially closed on the property, there were some initial fixes that came up on the inspection report. Again, nothing major, but we spent about $1,000 on those initial fixes. And then on top of that, about a couple months into owning the property, there was a pretty substantial HVAC fix that we had to do that cost us about $1,600 unexpectedly out of pocket. Now, this is exactly why it is so important whenever you buy an investment property to have ample reserves on hand. Now, at the same time, we also use this thing called delayed financing. It's a way to be able to get a mortgage on the property that you just purchased in cash. It's a great way to get money back in your pocket pretty fast without having to season the property for 6 months. But the downside with it is you don't get the appraised value as far as money back in your pocket. You only get up to the purchase price. Now, the reason we chose to do this is because we actually had a rehab project that we were starting with our triplex. We were in the process of about to start renovating all 3 of those units, and so we needed to have as much capital as we could on hand to complete that task. But once we got all that initial stuff out of the way, we were actually cash flowing pretty good, even renting it out in as-is condition. You see, our rents were currently $1,195 a month, and then our expenses, our mortgage, taxes, and insurance came out to $489 a month. We also paid property management $95 a month for managing that property, and then we also had a water sewer bill that ran about $85 a month. So on a good month, we would probably net about $545 a month. Now, even when you factor factored in things like maintenance and lawn care, the maintenance only ran us about $34 a month on average, and the lawn care ran us at about $20 a month. So even factoring all those into the numbers, we were still pretty close to $500 a month in cash flow. Now, although the initial cash flow was good, the downside with this property is that the tenants, right before they listed it on the market, they signed brand new leases for 12 months, meaning that we'd have to wait till next summertime before we could finally get in there and start doing any kind of rehab. But I was actually okay with this because in reality, we were rehabbing the triplex at the time and we didn't have an endless amount of capital to work with. So it's good that we kind of waited a little bit before we got started on the rehab process for this duplex. So anyways, over the next 12 months, we got great cash flow and the tenants paid on time, and overall we had a really good experience with them. So it finally came time to decide, are we going to renew the tenants or are we going to non-renew the tenants? Well, I think at that point we had some other rehab project going on, so once again I think we decided to push it off another year, and so we ended up just raising the rents from $11.95 a month to $12.25 a month. Not a significant increase, but at least they gave us a little bit more cash flow. But with that said, about 10 months into the second year, we noticed the values of the properties had gone up significantly. So we decided to pull the trigger on a refinance because once again, I think we were in the middle of some kind of project or something like that and we wanted more capital to work with. So we pulled the trigger on a refinance. Well, the property ended up appraising at $150,000, which was pretty awesome because we'd only owned the property for about a year and 10 months at this point, and we hadn't even done any work to it yet. So in a way, it kind of worked out to be an accidental burr, but at the same time, it really goes to show you the power of investing in these gentrifying areas. Now, a couple months later after the refinance, both tenants let us know that they plan to non-renew their leases, and this was actually perfect timing because at this point we had extra capital to work with and we were ready to move forward on a rehab. Now, as far as the rehab goes, this is exactly what we ended up doing. For the exterior, we ended up rebuilding the deck in the back unit because it was just in really bad shape. The front one was in much better shape, so we just repainted that one. For the entire exterior, we ended up just pressure washing the siding and just kind of leaving it alone other than that. And then we also replaced some mailboxes. Now for the interior, there were some hardwood floors, but they were completely scratched up and in pretty bad shape. So rather than going the refinishing route, we decided to just replace it with vinyl plank because it's just more durable, scratch resistant, water resistant. It's just gonna make better for a rental property. Now we also did some new paint throughout the interior of the units, and in addition to that, we put some money into the bathrooms, doing new tile floors. We did new vanities, vanity mirrors, vanity lights, but we were able to save some money by keeping the shower surround in place. Now we also did change out all the toilets, and that's now a new habit I do these days, is I always change out the toilets whenever I get a new rental property just to avoid any potential leaks. Now for the kitchens, the cabinets, we were able to keep them and just sand them down, paint them, but in the front unit, the cabinets were in much worse shape, so we actually ended up demoing those, putting in brand new shaker style cabinets. Now when it comes to renovating our rental properties, we really pride ourselves on trying to make our rental units stand out from the competition, and so we ended up going with granite countertops and a subway tile backsplash to make the unit really stand out. Now the reason I go with granite counters as opposed to like laminate is because I can actually get granite counters as cheap as $35 a square foot, whereas laminate is only $25 a square foot, but laminate is also way less durable, it's not gonna last as long, and it also doesn't look as good because with the granite you also get the really nice undermount sinks and everything. So overall, between it looking better, between it feeling better, between it lasting longer, I really feel it's worth that little bit more just to give an overall better impression. Now for the appliances, we actually kept the appliances that were in the back unit. They were just standard white and black color appliances, but they were clean and working fine, so we just left those alone. Whereas in the front unit, we wanted to add a dishwasher, which we didn't have at the time, and then one of the appliances wasn't working very good as well, so overall we just decided to get new appliances. We went with stainless steel. Now aside from those bigger fixes, we also did some minor fixes that just kind of changed the feel of the unit. We changed the outlets, we changed the light switches, we changed the light fixtures, all those kind of things just to give it a nice clean feel, more modern, updated look throughout. And in addition to this, we also decided to sub-meter the water so that way we could pass on the water and sewer bill onto the tenant and not be responsible for that $85 a month. So the total rehab cost for the two units came in at just under $26,000, and then in addition to that, we spent about $2,800 roughly on the sub-metering. So in total, our overall cost came out to $28,685. Now the best part about this is after doing this, our rents went up significantly. Our back unit went up from $565 a month all the way up to $900 a month, and then the front unit unit went up all the way from $660 a month all the way up to $1,050 a month. So in total, the rents went up from $1,225 a month up to $1,950 a month. And on top of that, because we submetered the water, now we were saving ourselves $85 a month. So overall, our cash flow really improved by about $810 a month, which is really almost a 34% return on investment just on the rehab alone. And not only that, but now the value of the duplex today is probably worth around $230,000, which is pretty phenomenal when you consider we bought it for $97,000 not even 3 years ago. So here's an updated look at what the current numbers are on this property. So our current rents are $1,950 a month. Our principal, interest, taxes, and insurance comes out to $638 a month. Our property management fees are at $195 a month. Now I know it's 10% now instead of 8%, which is where it used to be, but that's because we changed property management companies, and this one just does a flat 10% fee. They don't charge any leasing fees, any releasing fees, any subcontracting fees, plus they're a much better company to work with. So today, in a good month where we have no maintenance issues and we're fully occupied, a good cash flow month cash flows as much as $1,117 a month. But even taking into account future expenses such as maintenance, lawn care, all that kind of stuff, I would budget about $34 a month for maintenance, just because historically that's how it's actually been on the property. $20 a month on lawn care. I would budget about 5% vacancy, because this property goes really fast because it's in a really hot area. So about 5% on that is about $98 a month, and I'd even throw an extra $100 into capital expenditures per month. So even when you take into account all those future expenses, you're still cash flowing at $865 a month, which I'm still pretty happy with. So overall, when you take that cash flow and couple that with the fact that I bought it for $97,000 just 3 years ago, and now it's worth about $230,000, I'm really happy with this deal. This has been one of my favorite properties I bought just because of the consistent cash flow it provides. I love that it has promise with the area that it's in, and it's very low maintenance as well. So overall, I am really happy with this deal. So with that said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you gained some value, and if you did, do me a favor and smash that like button. And if you haven't already done so, you gotta subscribe and hit that notification bell for more content like this. I talk real estate, I talk personal finance, all things about massive wealth building. Also, be sure to let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Finally, follow me on TikTok and Instagram at The Out of State Investor. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.